Hello, boys and girls. Lord Hawkeye here again. It's time for more market myths, and this time it's on corruption. Now, I planned to do this a lot of weeks ago, but every time I tried to, the script ended up becoming this big bloated mess, and I threw it in the garbage. Just me rambling for way too long, and I think everyone deserves a little better than that. And then the solution hit me. I already did do a vid on this. My old Coke versus Pepsi vid from quite a long time ago. So I'm going to put a link down to that video because the bulk of the argument can all be found there. So instead for this video, I'm simply going to address the common objections that get brought up on this subject, on free market regulators and all that sort of thing. And they are as follows. First, there would be no regulators without government. Okay, this is bullshit. Right off the bat, it is just absolutely lazy thinking. Movie critics, restaurant critics, consumer reporters, the list goes on and on and on and on. This is like, the idea of free market regulators is not theoretical. People do this stuff all the time. Do you think critics exist because there's some law requiring them to? No, they exist because people want them to exist. Why do we have movie critics? Because people don't want to waste their time and money going to a crappy movie. So they get second opinions from people who feel their opinions can be trusted. Same thing with consumer reporters. Same thing with things like underwriters' laboratories, who I've mentioned time and time again as the state has continued to try to ignore. Yeah, like Walmart. They will not stock electronics that don't have UL's approval. Why do they do that? Because that relaxes customer fears, and relaxed customers are repeat customers. Yes, it is all about money, and that's why it works. Anyway, next, they'd be subject to bribery. Okay, do I have to inform you that politicians take bribes? Do I really have to inform you of that? If I do, then don't debate politics. You have not done even an ounce of research. Lobbyists frequently bribe politicians to vote a certain way, and they get away with it, and you're forced to go with their decision anyway. How is that better than the odd critic who takes a bribe and who's proven to be not reliable? I challenge you, tell me right now, what advantage does government offer against the free market here? I'm listening. Yeah, I didn't think so. The thing is, no one's saying bribery's never going to happen. Yeah, it probably will either way. But the thing is, if say a movie critic takes bribes and to skew his review a certain way, guess what? You don't have to take his word. If you think he's not reliable, bam! Stop looking at his website. Stop reading his reviews. Problem solved. No problem. If a politician takes a bribe, guess what? That law is going into play, and you are going to pay for it. You don't get a say. What exactly has statism accomplished here? Next, people are stupid and ignorant or don't care, blah, 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 blah. Yay, self-aggrandizing projection. Just more proof that statism is not about virtue as it is about protecting people's egos. Egos, such an overrated commodity. Anyways, once again, this does not. Even if this is true, and I don't think it is, statism isn't a solution. Because guess what? Those stupid, ignorant, don't care people, they vote. And they run for public office. What did you solve? You solved nothing. And I don't think it's true. I don't think it's true anyway. I think that's just people projecting their own failures onto humanity because, hey, actually facing your faults and trying to correct them, oh, that's too hard. Just delude yourself into thinking everyone does that, so boom, you get to feel better. Pathetic. And finally, people don't have time to check up on everything they buy. Okay, multiple problems with this one. The main points are, first of all, so they don't have time to check up on what they buy, but they do have time to read up on every bill that politicians want to pass to make sure there's nothing in there that's going to harm them. Have you looked at the average bill lately? Once again, you've just deferred the problem over. You haven't actually solved it, even if we accept everything you say is true. Secondly, not everyone needs to have time to check up on everything they buy or be an expert or whatever. Like, first of all, do you know what makes one car better than another, all the fine details about it? I don't. I know the basic theory behind how a car works, but I don't know the fine details of what makes one car better than another or what I should look for if I were to buy a car or whatever. But guess what? I don't need to. There are lots of car buffs out there who do make it their business to know everything there is to know about that sort of thing. There's lots and lots of people out there, and in this day and age, they're even easier to access than ever before. So, how do people make arguments like this? It's just ridiculous. And the other thing is, not everyone needs to have time to check up on everything they buy. Let's say you have a restaurant. Let's say 90% of their customers didn't bother reading reviews on them or anything. Even if then, that's still 10%. If their service is bad, that's still 10% of people who did read critics of it, find out the food was bad, and didn't go. That's still 10% of potential customers lost. They do notice that. And that's assuming that 10% didn't tell other people that the restaurant was bad and not to go there. And chances are they do. People tend to, on average, tell one more person about a positive experience, but they tell 10 more people about a negative experience. So, is it any wonder why businesses go out of their way to make everyone happy? Yeah. I mean, come on. Have these people never worked for a Walmart or any customer service place before they came in spouting this gibberish? It's ridiculous. People like to ignore the fact that politicians are unbelievably corrupt, and they frequently get away with it. It's like, when this issue is brought up, folks, don't point to BP or things like that as an example of the free market failing, because it isn't. BP's oil spill and them subsequently practically getting off scot-free for it, that's something that happened under your system's watch, not ours. There was no free market court who let them off the hook. It's not like there was a lack of a government to stop them. No, you had a government then, and it was their job to prevent this sort of thing from happening, or at the very least to ensure that those who were harmed were properly compensated. That did not happen. You had a government who was supposed to make sure that happened. Therefore, that is your government's failing. So really, guys, cut that shit out. It's ridiculous. And when this is brought up to you, please don't say, "Oh, that's just because the evil corporations have got them all in their pockets." Because people, that's really not an argument in your favor either. You're just openly admitting your politicians take bribes and get away with it. How exactly is that supposed to sway me? I'm not seeing it. And, well, what you should take away from all this is quite simple. Capitalism is not a guarantee that corruption won't happen. Nobody in existence can possibly guarantee that. But the thing is, government is a guarantee that corruption will happen. It always has, and there's no evidence to suggest that will ever change. Anyway, I hope this summed things up nicely. It's a little cruder than normal, but I just want to get this done. Until next time, be aware and be wise.